Hi, my name is Josh, and for the past year, I have been creating original music and just released my first 5-track EP called the Glassharks EP. And this is 5 things I learned about myself while creating this music. Definitely didn't think I'd be learning valuable life lessons while creating anything, but I guess exposing yourself musically and really diving deep into your own psyche and mental state kind of exposes you and opens you up to a lot of little things about yourself. And I figured, these tips and pointers have benefited me so much. Why not share that with others and see if that brings value to anyone else? And before you click off, this is not some glorified attempt to advertise or promote this album. I will leave the links to Spotify and Apple Music in the description if you decide to listen to it. But this brings us to our first point. Streams, numbers, people listening to your music does not make your music good. The biggest thing I learned was to make music that I love. I am my biggest fan. I listen to my music in the car on repeat every day, everywhere I go, because I love the stuff that I made. And when I first started making music, I would send out a bunch of demos to my friends and hope to get a good response and hope that they would like it. And a lot of the times I didn't get a lot of responses. I guess people were busy or didn't want to listen to it, which is fine. I totally get it. But it would totally bring me down because you put a lot of work and effort into this music, and you just hope that someone takes the time to listen to it. And when someone did listen to it and give me their thoughts, I was hoping for a really good positive response. And a lot of times I would get it, and it would drive me to make more music. But I realized along the way that putting your dependence and value and worth into someone else's opinion or someone else's thought is a very inconsistent driving method. If you need that external validation to write, to push you to keep writing, that can be okay for a while, but the drive really needs to come from you. You need to be happy with your music before anyone else is happy with your music, because as long as you have the passion in you, then you'll just keep writing forever. I remember I wrote a song and I sent it to a friend, and it was less than positive, and I was super stoked on it, but he just wasn't feeling it. And I'm super grateful that he was honest with me, but it literally stopped me writing for 2 months because I put so much worth into someone else's opinion of my music. Once I realized that, I knew that I needed to change my mindset. I knew I needed to start loving my music myself and not relying on others. And it can be difficult when you're first starting out because you lack technical skill. I've been playing music for a few years, but this is the first time I started tracking and producing music. And I was super new to it and super unsure, and there's a billion different things you need to learn. But this brings us to point number 2. Do not let a lack of technical skill stop you from creating. I am not a great singer. I don't think I'm tone deaf by any means, but I'm definitely not a braggadocious singer. And when I first started making music, I cut off that avenue of songwriting entirely. I would not let myself write a songwriter type song, like an Ed Sheeran type tune, because I didn't want to have to sing on it. So that constricted the styles that I could kind of try. And so I tried this rap, and I tried this spoken word thing, and none of it was kind of working for me. And just because I mentally boxed myself off from a lot of opportunity just because I was insecure with my own skill. Once I got over this insecurity or this fear, and I started letting myself sing, or I started to become a little more comfortable with different styles, it opened up so much opportunity. And there's a few songs on the record that are very sing-songy, and they're not the best. They're pitchy and whatever, but I'm okay with it. And I know I'll get better with time, but this is where I'm at right now in terms of my technical skill with singing and even producing and even playing instruments. I'm okay with those little failures, and I know that I'll keep working, and with time and with consistency and with more writing, I'll eventually get better. But I have to be patient, and I have to be able to see things in the future and not just be so caught up in the now, because it's so you get stuck here and you don't know what to do, and you end up like me and you don't create because you just don't know what to do with yourself, or like with your lack of skill or whatever it is. And it's easy to look to others and to think, oh, I'll never be as good as them, I'll never be as technically talented or skilled as them, which brings us to number 3. Never compare yourself to others. Music, art is not a competition. There are parts of making songs that could be a little more technical, like a mix or a master. There are things that people could pick out for like a 1-to-1 kind of thing, but even like mixing and even like mastering songs could even be subjective if you really broke it down. It's good to have inspirations. It's good to have people you admire, people you look up to as that driving force, but it's not good to look at those people and think, I'm not going to be that. There's no point in trying. And even in the micro, not talking about famous people, but in my community, I know a couple people who make music, and we're all kind of beginners and we're all kind of new to this. And I found myself comparing myself to what they were doing, and not even like, oh, I'm not going to be as good as them, but the opposite, like, oh, I'm better than them, or my mix is better than their mix, or my performance is a little cleaner than their performance. And I caught myself thinking that way, and I was like, man, this is so toxic. I should never want to bring down others just because I know a little more than they do, or I'm a little more talented in this area, or with this skill. You should never want to bring others down. You should never compare yourself or think you're better than anyone else, even if technically you might be. Always try to bring others up. Always try to help out where you can. If someone is new to a skill or new to making music, help them out. Maybe offer advice if they ask for it, or just kind of reach out and say, hey, listen to your song, this is really great. Or are you open to a couple pointers? This is what I learned in my experience. Maybe this can help you out. Maybe a word of advice. Maybe we don't look up to these super big mega pop stars or these super big rock stars. Maybe we look more at the micro. The person who inspired me to make music was Cape Town, Robin Skinner of Cape Town. He's a one-man band, kind of smaller, big in the YouTube community, and has several records out. Just came out with a new one. It's really great. And I remember finding him, and when I realized that he was just one guy in GarageBand making these dope hits, I was like, man, I could do this. And I listened to all his music, and it was, kind of the similar vein of like what I wanted to create. And then as I started producing and as I started getting a little better with making music on the production and technical side, I went back to his older work, his first album, and I could pick out like the little mistakes. I could pick out the timing was off, or the vocals were a bit muddy, or the little imperfections. And even now, that's helping me break down this wall of perfection that I think everyone puts up for themselves. I think we really get caught up in like, this needs to be the best possible version of this song. Like I need to get this song to sound right. But what Cape Town taught me was, no, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to put out mistakes. It's okay to be new. It's okay to not really know what you're doing, but love the art so much that you put it out anyways. And you can see the improvements with each album in Cape Town. And now he's over here making like these super dope records. But even then, he still lets those little imperfections, those happy mistakes in, and he's not so caught up in this needs to be perfect or the perfectly produced mix. Something I've heard was that a good mix is a boring mix. And what that means is just mistakes are going to happen, but sometimes you should roll with those mistakes, just roll with those punches, and that actually might come out to be a better, more interesting song. Just not letting those little imperfections get to you, but really embracing them, because that's what makes the art beautiful. It's not this clean, polished version of it, but maybe like this version that you saw that involves these errors that others might find to be annoying or amateur. Screw that. Just be you, because you're imperfect. Your songs are going to be imperfect. I think that's the beauty of making music. Tip number 4, which is very subjective and kind of just like a personal gripe, but fame is lame. And I never make music in anticipation of popping off or to becoming viral or being known or notable. And I definitely don't look down on others who might want that big hit or that big break. That's definitely a goal to work towards, and I love that for you. But for me personally, I know, not from experience, but what I can imagine is that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of stress that you're putting on yourself just for the sake of people knowing your name or people knowing your band or people liking your music. Those are good things to kind of work towards. But for me, the biggest thing is just to love the process, not the numbers. When the EP came out, I kind of looked at the streams the days following, and even going in, I knew like, okay, the numbers don't matter. I love making the music. But even seeing the numbers, I kind of like winced a little bit. I was like, oh, there's only like 3 streams for this song. And even then, I just had to like pull myself back and think, okay, well, that's fine. This doesn't matter. It's just a song. You love it. It's out there. It has its own identity. This is okay. You're going to be okay. Honestly, I don't think I could handle the attention or all the pressure that comes with having fame or clout or notability. I have enough pressure making a song sound good for me. I can't imagine what it's like to have 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people looking at you, waiting for music, and hoping that you make something that appeases them, or having people love your work and having all those compliments and all the admiration go to your head. That could be a super dangerous thing for someone who's a little more immature or someone who's just learning who they are, and having all this love and all this praise, and at the same time all this hate that comes in from it. I think there are perks to fame or to money. I think there are probably great things about that. But at the end of the day, if I can be content with making the music and I can be content with loving that process, then I already win. The fame or the notoriety doesn't mean much, because in my own head, I've already won. And anything else that comes with it is just a perk. If people listen to it, that's great. If it goes viral, that's great. But not letting anything get to your head is super important. And then brings me to lesson number 5. Being humble is key. Making music can kind of make you feel like you're something. And there's a lot of skill and time and patience that goes into making music, and that's something to be proud of. I'm still finding the line between confidence and cockiness myself. I haven't quite learned the difference. I'm actually on the opposite end of it, where I trash myself and I say my music is crap, and I complain about everything I make, which isn't very good. I wouldn't recommend that. But being able to stay humble now in the micro, when your music is technically bad, or when you're nothing, is probably really, really important for the times where you do have attention. Going back to my last point, I think fame kind of magnifies who you are. It doesn't kind of add anything. It just kind of amplifies what's already there. And so if we can stay humble, then maybe that humility can stay as the clout grows. But I find humble artist to be so incredibly attractive, and not attractive physically, but like in its approachability. Like having someone who's really, really, really good, you knowing that they're good, and them knowing that they're good, but having them not act like they know, but like just being like down to earth and taking compliments, not just talking about themselves, just saying thank you and asking questions and really engaging. That's something that's super, super attractive, and it's a commonality that I find within the artists that I listen to. Even I don't prefer braggadocious people or people who love talking about themselves, people who bring down others just to put themselves up. I think having that humility and that love is so important, so vital when you are in a creative field, when you can get a lot of attention, when you can get a lot of praise, when people do know your name or do know your music. If you can stay one to one, human to human, person to person, not just in music, but like you'll succeed in life if you can be who you are despite the attention that you might get. That's something I'm working on every day. I have some things to be proud of. Definitely not at the point where I should talk about myself all the time, or, oh, I make music, or whatever. I'm not there yet. But I'm trying to practice it now while I am nothing, and hoping that it translates to other avenues of my life, and really just hoping to stay humble throughout this entire process. But it's good to feel yourself sometimes. It's really good to just be like, yeah, this song's great. It's awesome. To listen to your own music in the car or on a speaker or something. It's so cool, so validating, and to really like make something and have it grow up essentially, and to be its own thing once it's out. Really beautiful thing, man. And writing this EP just kind of solidified my love for making music, and I'll probably write and make music forever. Probably just work on a record after record and put it out, and eventually we'll get some people who want to listen to it. But until then, I'm super happy with how this first record came out. A lot of improvement, a lot of room for improvement for sure. But I'm learning every day, and I'm really, really excited to work on this next album. Well, these are just a few things that I learned. If you've learned anything yourself in your own creative endeavors, please let me know. Let's have a discussion in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I will see you eventually.